Hey Kaiju fans, Titano here. It's been just over 2 years since our very first Kaiju profile. Wikizilla's videos and writing staff have grown quite a bit since then, so we thought we'd give our most popular video a reboot. Let's take a new look at Shin Godzilla. Shin Godzilla, directed by Hideaki Anno and Shinji Higuchi, introduced the 11th incarnation of the King of the Monsters to appear on film. This version is a completely new species spawned by nuclear waste dumping, rather than an ancient creature awakened or mutated by nuclear testing. His role in the story evokes the 2011 tsunami and nuclear disaster at Fukushima, a disaster made worse by the Japanese government's sluggish response. Able to mutate his own DNA to adapt to new situations, he takes on 5 distinct forms before the credits roll. At the time of his film's release, he was the tallest, longest, and heaviest cinematic depiction of Godzilla, only to be surpassed by Godzilla Earth the following year. When Toho announced Shinji Higuchi as the co-director of Shin Godzilla, he promised to deliver audiences the greatest worst nightmare. Mahiro Maeda, who had previously worked with Higuchi on Ultraman Powered and the Heisei Gamera trilogy, designed the new Godzilla. Originally, Anno and Higuchi wanted a conventional Godzilla to mutate over the course of the film, resulting in some of the wildest concept art in the entire series, but Toho vetoed the idea. However, they found they could still get away with unusual designs so long as they evolved into a more traditional form. Still, this form possessed unique details, namely the splitting lower jaw which had no tongue, and a spare head on the end of the tail. They also enjoyed relative freedom in giving Godzilla new abilities. According to VFX supervisor and lead editor Atsuki Sato, the design team initially wanted to make Gojira feel more like a living creature, but Anno decided that the monster should have the texture of rubber instead. Takayuki Takeya sculpted the maquettes for Godzilla's second, third, and fourth forms. He would turn out to be the first Japanese Godzilla depicted primarily through CGI, as Higuchi feared that modern audiences would find a suitmation Godzilla boring. CGI also gave them more freedom with Godzilla's tail, as it would no longer have to be operated with wires. Still, Higuchi wanted to pay tribute to the previous films with motion capture. Mansai Nomura, an actor he had directed in The Floating Castle, played Godzilla. Nomura is best known for his work in Kyogen, a traditional form of Japanese stage comedy. Though it was unnecessary for the motion capture process, Nomura asked to wear a wooden mask, as he would if he was playing an inhuman character in the theater. The only physical Godzilla prop in the film appears in the cryptic final shot, sculpted by Takayuki Takeya. The prop, in addition to depicting the humanoid Godzilla fifth form splitting off from the tail, revealed human jaws within the mouth of the spare head. In addition, a blue screen prop with Godzilla's second form was used for a shot involving miniatures. Leaked set photos revealed the existence of an animatronic puppet, but it ultimately went unused. Anno and Higuchi also shot footage of eyeballs and fangs sprouting from pieces of Godzilla's flesh blasted off by a stealth bomber attack, which didn't make the cut either. Toho's marketing campaign for Shin Godzilla was extremely secretive, showing only his fourth form and holding back on footage of his atomic breath in action. Even Bandai Toy solicitations concealed his second and third forms, calling them Kaiju A and Kaiju B. When the Japanese Coast Guard investigated a small yacht floating in Tokyo Bay, it found the craft abandoned, with no sign of a struggle or the owner's whereabouts. Suddenly, the water began to erupt in steam as a strange red liquid flooded the Tokyo Bay aqualine. The Japanese government concluded that the disaster was due to an underwater volcanic eruption, but Assistant Cabinet Secretary Rando Yaguchi proposed it was a gigantic living creature, citing footage he had found online. His colleagues dismissed his claims until a huge tail burst out of the bay. As Prime Minister Seiji Okochi assured the populace that the creature would not surface, he made landfall in Tokyo's Kamata district, stumbling around on his hind legs and pushing himself forward with his tail. After toppling an apartment building, he suddenly reared up on his hind legs and sprouted arms. Okochi deployed helicopters to attack the beast, only to call them off when he learned civilians were still evacuating the area. As they flew away, the monster returned to the sea. The government immediately began formulating strategies to deal with the monster should it return. an informal group including Yaguchi made up of
lone wolves, nerds, troublemakers, academic heretics, freaks, and general pains in the butt of the bureaucracy.
discovered increased radiation levels in the areas Godzilla had rampaged through. An American presidential envoy, Kayoko Ann Patterson, soon contacted them, offering intelligence in exchange for help locating a professor named Goromaki. The National Police Agency couldn't find him, but discovered that he was the owner of the abandoned yacht. Patterson revealed that Maki was researching the creature for the U.S. Department of Energy when it was still living on the seafloor. The name he gave it read as Gojira in Japanese and Godzilla in English, meaning God incarnate in his hometown of Odo Island. Godzilla, an ancient species of marine life, had mutated after feeding on barrels of nuclear waste deposited in Tokyo Bay in the 1950s. This helped confirm Hiromi Ogashira's theory that he sustained himself through nuclear fission. As a result, he had overheated on land and dove into Tokyo Bay to cool off. Yaguchi's group brainstormed a potential way to defeat him by shutting off his internal cooling system. They began to develop the Yaguchi plan, revolving around a coagulant. Shortly afterward, Godzilla surfaced in Kamakura,